Howdy folks, Doc here with Last Best Tool, and I'm always kind of on the lookout for unique tools, especially ones that do more than one thing. This kind of caught my eye. It's a Jonard Tools. It's the AHW600, and it's kind of like a spanner wrench, kind of like a box end, and it replaces supposedly everything from 5/16 or from 9/16 down to a quarter, or from 13 millimeter down to 6. And the way this thing works is it actually has a little sliding piece here that contains 2 of the 6 sides of a hex bolt, and you have several adjustments on this side, so you can see that's where that comes from, but then you also have the corresponding inverse side adjustments here. So it allows each one of these stops to literally become 2 different sizes, you know, one at the top, one at the bottom. Same on this side, a little bigger. Does it work? Yeah, I mean, sure. Anything that's kind of that size, if you can get the right size on it, you know, definitely works. It has merit, but that's kind of where I'm going with this. There are all sorts of attempts to essentially improve upon the traditional wrench by allowing you to stick more wrenches into the smaller space. However, that has been done successfully by Knipex with their plier wrench. This is the 86-100. This is the smallest of the plier wrenches at 100 centimeters. However, this has a larger range than this tool. So if you go to the biggest size here, I think it's that, you can see definitely much larger. There are lots of different kinds of tools, though, that attempt to get into that space. Obviously, the traditional little adjustable wrench has been occupying that space. These are great. If you had to have one, well, you know, this does do some things this can't do, and I can't think of anything really except hold still that this thing can do that a plier wrench can't. By hold still, I mean you literally can set it and it stays. Obviously, these other EDCs, this has additional bit storage here that then you can drop into a little bit there. If I pop this thing open, if I can remember where the tail thing is, I think it's right here. Slide something out. So yeah, the plier wrench can't do this. But there are lots of things like that. I mean, here's another version. This one they've included some knives or cutters. I don't think that's terribly necessary unless you really just want one thing, but in this case you've got a couple of small bits, or you know, standard bits that drop in here, as well as an offset quarter or an offset adjustable wrench. This one takes it a little further, kind of trying to lock in a shape and then screwing this in, sort of an adjustable wrench, except that says this side up. So I'm not sure, I guess it has to go this way, right there, except this says 8 to 19 millimeters, this is a 10, and I can't get it to fit, so much for that. And it bends, so it's kind of interesting. And of course I can pop this thing up, and it's got some bits here as well, so I could take that and put it in a screwdriver bit here, bit holder here, or here. More kind of wonky. That's supposed to be a hammer. Wonder, is that intentional? Anyway, and then of course traditional Leatherman, but these are not the best for grabbing nuts. They do work, but that's where this comes in. This, the more I use it, the more I carry it, the more I realize it actually answers so many calls. However, if you did have, say, a number 2 Phillips on one end and maybe a little slotted driver on the other, that actually would answer a couple of, you know, things missing. You know, it does work as tweezers. You can grab things, you know, very fine point. If I get it to its smallest setting, you can see that does close very well, nice and small. So anyway, I keep looking, keep trying things, but it turns out probably in my tool drawer I already had it, or in my pocket I already had what I've always been looking for. So this just keeps rising to the top as probably one of the more useful of the EDC tools. Do I want people to stop trying to make all kinds of other odds and ends that answer the call? Of course not, but they're not terribly expensive. This thing here, this was about 22 bucks. I don't remember. This was like 12, I think. But, you know, we're trying. We're exploring the different spaces, but, you know, maybe you added a little bulk, had a little tiny hammer or flat spot on the back. I mean, you could stuff a few more tools into this, but for the one that you do the most work with, you know, and need most of the time, this already answers the call. And with that, Doc out.